I've been selling real estate in and around Greater Vancouver now for the last 10 years. Yes, a decade. I can hardly believe it myself. And the number one question that I get asked all the time from new agents who are just starting out is, what is the number one piece of advice that you could give to a new agent who's just starting out? And while this question continues to pop up, and I have a generic answer that I typically answer, I was thinking about this a lot more deeply as I was at a university event for the Simon Fraser University when I was surrounded by a lot of students, and they all were asking me that same question. So I thought today, in today's episode of the Manning Up on Real Estate podcast, I'm going to answer that question, but I'm going to go a lot deeper into some of the real lessons that I have learned over the last 10 years selling real estate in Greater Vancouver. Now, these lessons are not relevant to just Vancouver. They are relevant to any market that you're in right now. I hope you take these lessons and learn from my mistakes in this industry. So hopefully you can jumpstart your career and take off, because this is a wonderful industry that you can get into. It can be pretty stressful at times, don't get me wrong, but I think there's a lot that agents can do if they really tap into and get comfortable being uncomfortable. So let's get into it. The first story I wanted to share with you guys is a story about me as a new agent and the mistake that I made that actually set me back on my journey as a realtor from actually growing quicker. And I'm going to relate this back to two lessons from two different books that I've read. I tend to share this story often with young agents because it is really relevant to making sure that if you think about these lessons, you will succeed long term. When I got started, I picked up this couple who wanted to start investing in and around the Fraser Valley. We started going out and looking at tons of different properties. We were writing offers on them. And this went on for like 6 months, and we did not sell a single property to them. We did get some under contract. Other ones we sent stink bids in. The ones we got under contracts, they collapsed either due to some financing issues with developing the property that they wanted to do. Just in general, it was a lot of what I considered at the time wasted time when I could have been maybe working with a buyer that was more serious, ready to work. However, this is where lesson number one comes in, and it's from a book called Sell It Like Serhant. If anyone knows who Ryan Serhant is, he's one of the number one agents in New York, and he's fast blowing up his brokerage across North America right now. And he wrote a book that really hit me hard. The concept he talked about is for lead generation and keeping your pipeline full. It's the fact that you need to be juggling a lot of balls. And by that concept, it's juggling lots of clients. You have to be working with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 buyers, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sellers. If you don't have enough clients and one ball drops and it's your only ball, you have no income coming in. Because I was working with just one client, trying to get them across the finish line, I was hurting my future income by not filling that pipeline or not juggling more balls. But the second lesson came through in the fact that I didn't tarnish my relationship with this couple. They were super grateful for everything I did. I didn't fire the client. I didn't get mad. Now, sometimes you might have to fire a client, and it happens. Maybe you don't get along. Maybe you're not a personality match. But this couple was so sweet, and they apologized profusely at the time for nothing working out. They turned around and went to a different market, started investing there, and I didn't get any business from it going forward. So, the second lesson comes from the book from Simon Sinek called The Infinite Game. Now, in The Infinite Game, he talks about a company called Kodak. Those of us who were born in the 70s, 80s, 90s, or earlier, we all remember Kodak was the number one film company. They produced cameras, film, everything. Every little cartridge of film you put in your camera was Kodak film. You'd get them developed. It was great. The company was very forward thinking way back in the day until around the 1990s, when they had the opportunity to get involved in the first ever digital camera. Kodak said, no, nobody's going to get on board with digital cameras. We are a film company. We sell film. So we're not going to go down that path of digital cameras. Fast forward to 2025. How often are we thinking about Kodak cameras? We're not thinking about Kodak cameras. They hurt themselves in business. I could have hurt myself in business by freaking out to this couple saying, hey, you guys wasted all my time. I've spent 6 months trying to buy. You didn't buy anything with me. But instead I thought long term. I said, I'm here for the long haul. I'm not here to be in short-term business, and I got to keep a good relationship with people. You never know what's going to happen in the future. Even though they didn't buy with me, maybe something will come up in the future, or maybe they'll refer me to a friend or family. Fast forward 10 years now, I have done a ton of transactions with this couple. 1 year, we did 9 transactions together. While a lot of agents are fighting to get one client to buy one property, I was buying and selling 9 properties with this one client. And honestly, they've been my biggest supporter ever since. So I thought long term. I didn't think I needed that instant commission and that they didn't give it to me. I focused on the relationship, and that relationship has been very, very fruitful for me going forward. In fact, one of their sales has been my record high sales that I've ever done in my career to date. I'm hoping to beat that soon. However, at the end of the day, they still hold that record, and I'm forever truly grateful. So the 2 lessons that I learned early on in my career come from those 2 books. Sell It Like Serhant and The Infinite Game. And what I'll do as well, guys, is in the show notes or description, depending where you're watching or listening to this, I will link to those books so you can pick them up for yourself, because to me, those are must reads if you want to be successful in real estate going forward. So check them out in the show notes or in the description. I'll link them there for you guys. Those 2 lessons were: make sure you're lead generating and picking up as many buyers or sellers as possible, juggle as many clients. So if one falls, you still have a pipeline full of clients. And the second lesson is the fact that you have to play the infinite game. You have to be thinking relationships and long-term. This is not a short-term game. If you want to be in business for 10 plus years like I am now, you have to think that long-term. So the next lesson that I wanted to relate to is the concept of being able to say no so you can make more money. Now that might sound a little counterintuitive, because if you're saying no to opportunities, but no is one of the most powerful tools that we can use as a real estate agent to protect our time, to focus on the things that will actually generate us more money long term. And that could be in the form of saying no when you should be lead generating. Maybe someone wants to go and take a day off and go for a hike, but you know you need to be in the office and protect your time because you want to be consistent. Saying no to that means you're sacrificing a little bit, but you're also investing in your future. Or it could be saying no to a client. Maybe you sit down with a client and you realize through the conversation they're really not that motivated, and you could end up spending 6 months working with a client that is never going to buy. Being able to identify and turning that client down in the moment until they're ready, maybe help them recognize that they're not ready to buy yet, could be an opportunity for you to free up that time. Imagine if you're working with an unmotivated buyer and you spend hours upon hours sending them properties, researching things, and then turning around and showing them homes, when all of that same time could be spent working with a buyer that is motivated or a seller that is motivated. You could end up wasting a ton of time. So learning how to pre-qualify your clients and say no to the ones who are not motivated in the moment. Again, we got to think infinite game though. Remember that first lesson. We're not going to just turn them away, but strategically helping and guiding them to the right decisions, and saying no for your time is going to be key. This also relates to saying no to shiny objects. Once you get into this business, you're going to get hit with all these shiny objects. Lead source this, buy these leads here. We're going to help you with your SEO. This is going to help you get followers on Instagram. Saying no to a lot of those things will, 1, save you a lot of money, but 2, save you a lot of time as well. You need to focus on the basics before you start layering in anything else like that. Until you've actually built your base level foundation of business, all these other things are just going to be shiny objects. So make sure you say no to more than you say yes to. The next one that I want to talk about is something that I learned very early on, and it's that success leaves clues. The top agents that I know out there, they got themselves into rooms with people who are where they want to be. It's amazing when I see all these agents who think they can do it on their own. And honestly, there's moments where I thought that way as well. But if you can start realizing that the more you can surround yourself and collaborate in this business versus looking at all these agents as competition, the further ahead you're going to go. To do that, go out to conferences, get to masterminds. Find someone in your office who's willing to share with you any advice that they can. This is going to help to fast track your success, because they're going to tell you things that are working in their business. And then you can do my second favorite thing, which success leaves clues is number 1. But then the second thing that I always say is to R&D, rip off and duplicate. Don't reinvent the wheel. It's only going to set you further back because you don't have that solid foundation. If something's already working for someone, just take it and run with it. Just honestly implement it. That's been one of the cornerstones of my success is I go, ice cream social. Hey, that seems like a good idea. Let's do an ice cream social. That's the CRM they're using. Why don't we use that CRM if it's working for them? That's how they handle that negotiation. Okay, I'm going to do the same. Rip off and duplicate should be one of your top go-tos when it comes to building your business. Build it with a solid foundation. Don't try to get creative too early out the gate until you've built yourself up that foundation. And then you can layer on creativity after the fact. So again, success leaves clues. Surround yourself with people who are like-minded, who are success-driven. And if you guys are in the Lower Mainland and would like to come out to a mastermind event, we host one every single quarter where we try to put producing agents in a room to share ideas, what's working for them, so we can all get better. You can always reach out to me to be on the list for future masterminds as well. Here's one that I think is tough for a lot of new agents to wrap their head around. It's that your brand is being built whether you're online or offline. Too many people think that if they're in real estate mode, that's when they're their brand. They're going to make some content around it. They're going to act professionally when they are in front of clients, but then they go home or they'll go to the restaurants and then they don't really care. However, the minute you start putting yourself out there, especially once you're in the public eye, your brand is what people think about you, whether it's online or offline. So you have to think about that in every situation that you're in. You might not be actively prospecting someone, but if you're at a restaurant, real estate could come up or someone could recognize you. The amount of times I've been recognized for being an agent out in public, I mean, there's been situations where I'm at the mall and someone goes, "Oh, hey, Cameron, I've been following you on Instagram." It does happen once you start building your brand up. Your brand has to be the same and consistent whether you're online or offline. There's a lot of situations where people can actually tarnish their brand by acting differently out in the public eye when they're online versus just acting like people see them online. You have to be consistent across the board. That goes for how you present yourself, how you dress, how you act, how you speak. It is very important that if you guys are going to become a real estate agent, you are now a public figure, and you need to keep that in mind in every interaction that you do. Something else that I think is a very important thing to learn early on in real estate is to build a solid foundation on your database. Your database is your retirement plan at the end of the day. This is gold. And if you don't build your database with a lot of information and you don't nurture it regularly, it's going to do you no good. I did learn this the hard way. I was not the best at putting all my clients' information into a centralized database, somewhere that I could then work, somewhere that I could actually add value to them through. A lot of times I was just working off of my phone contacts. And because I worked with investors, I was working with those who were regular. I did 9 transactions with one client that one time. But that didn't help me long term build up and nurture those one-offs, because sometimes you're going to do one transaction. It might be helping a first-time home buyer. And then if you don't keep in regular contact with them, you don't nurture them because you haven't created a systemized database to do that, they might end up referring their friend to a different agent that they met later on. Maybe they go to sell that home and they don't think about you. Making sure that you're actually being very proactive in building your database is one of those key things that will help you continue to succeed in business. Now, I'm both happy and not happy to report that things have improved, but we still have a long way to go. Our database has gotten a little messy and we definitely have to do some cleanup in it. Both Kelly and I recognize that. At the same time, we've gotten way deeper into our database than we ever have before. We have database plans that allow us to reach out to our clients. We have events for our clients. We have VIP things that we do for our clients. All of that centers around a solid database plan, and having our database organized allows us to reach out to them at a much higher level, creating those higher impact touches for our clients. So if you guys are wanting to really succeed in business, start early building and nurturing your database plan. Now, there's 3 ways that you can get more business from your data plan. And this is something I learned recently. One is add more value to the people who are already there. These are your friends, family, past clients, sphere of influence, maybe someone you met at a grocery store and got their contact. Add more value to them. High level touches such as phone calls, texts, emails. You can do events, maybe mailers, send something in the mail that surprises them with no expectation of any sort of business coming forward. But you want to stay top of mind with that database. The second thing that you can do to get more return from your database is to add more people to it. Yes, you have to continue to build it because Even though you've got maybe a good sized database of 100, 200 people, not all of them are going to be buying or selling this year. Now, you're going to try to get referrals from them, but also build it. Remember that first lesson we talked about juggling? You need to be adding more people. So you need to make sure that you guys are lead generating, finding new people that you can add to your database. So you're growing the size while adding lots of value. And if you really want to succeed in real estate, you're going to do both of those. This is option number 3, both of those simultaneously. Add more people and add lots of value to them. If you can master your database, and let's say you had a database of 100 to start, you should be aiming to get an 8% conversion from your database, or 8 deals a year. Then we're going to layer in all of your other lead gen strategies that will allow you to sell more real estate. Realistically, for every 100 people that you have in your database, you should be getting at least 8 transactions from that database. The conversation about databases goes hand in hand with the next part, which is to start thinking about systemizing your business. This is a business after all. You're not just getting a job. So make sure you think about this like a business. And businesses have standard operating procedures. If you were to get a listing, do you have a checklist of tasks that you have to complete and will do consistently to create an experience for your clients? How does your buying look? Do you have a presentation that you go through? Is there a process that you take your buyers through? Or do you just like run and gun it in the moment, just figure it out as you go? If you run that kind of business, it's not repeatable and it's not going to be as easy for you long term. Whereas if you put a system in place that's checklist, that's repeatable, you know that if you book a listing appointment, this activity triggers that activity. And it doesn't matter if you're a large company and you've got multiple agents working for you and multiple admin, or you're a solo agent. If you have these systems in place, it will help you to grow, but also it'll help you maintain your mental state, because nothing can be worse than be like, what do I got to do here? What do I got to do there? This business can be mentally draining. Having these systems in place will help you not have to overthink and keep your mental power strong so you can focus on the things you actually have to put your mental capacity behind. And the last one I think is very relevant to what we're experiencing today. Markets will change. For those of you who are getting your license now, congratulations. This is going to be an awesome opportunity because you won't know any difference. However, a lot of agents got licensed in 2020, 2021, and the market, let's just say, was on easy mode for them. Everyone looked like a genius if you could get your cousin's house, your aunt's house, your uncle's house, put it on the market and sell it for 200,000 over asking with 35 offers. The market we're in now requires skills. You need to build skills. So going to trainings, doing skill practice like your script and role play, going to those meetups with masterminds, getting to events and building skills is what's going to help you build your business in the market today. If you can build your skills in the market now, you're going to do so much better when the market goes on to an easier track versus those agents who don't build the skills. We've lost over 1,000 agents in and around Greater Vancouver in the last year alone because people aren't building their skills. So be aware, markets are going to change. And when the markets change, you also have to be ready to learn new skills as well. That's been the biggest thing for our team. The market for us changed where investors are much harder to work with than they ever were before. Now that means we got to do regular real estate. By regular real estate, I mean working with buyers who want to buy a home, sell a home, whatever, selling, listing homes. And these are skills that we're having to learn and adapt to now as well. And yet, as we continue to layer, we're able to keep selling while people are leaving the business. Our sales are down, don't get me wrong, because a lot of people's are down. However, we're still selling. We're still active in the market because we've recognized that the only way for us to grow is to change with the changing market. And that requires new skills. So don't get complacent, guys. Don't sit there and say, well, I did this 2 years ago. It should be working today. You have to keep building skills out there. So go to trainings, learn from agents who are having success in the market today, get to masterminds, and keep working on your skills. Something that Kelly and I recently did that has been a huge impact into our business was doing a business challenge called 76 Hard. It was put together by a group called Glover U. This program was essentially a very high accountability program, but not only that, it was skill building. They required for us to write out scripts every single day. Then we had to chant those scripts so we could get used to speaking them. And then every single day we had to have a role play partner that we would practice objections with, hit them with the scripts, go off the scripts, so we could actually build our skills to survive in the market we're in today. If you're not doing this right now, you're going to potentially struggle. Some of you guys might still succeed. People sometimes have natural abilities, but those of you who are not building your skills may struggle in this market if you don't take the time to do skill building in your business. Actually schedule it in. Have a time every single day that you work on your skills. You might sit there and say, this isn't the best use of my time if I'm trying to get clients. But if you get clients and you don't have the skills to convert them, you don't have the skills to get them to sign on the line that is dotted, what is the point of working that hard to get clients if you can't convert them? Guys, these are my lessons that I've learned over time. I've learned them both the easy way and the hard way. I hope that you take one, two, or all of these pieces of advice, look at how you can incorporate them into your business. Honestly, I think that agents who can survive the market we're in today or get their license and don't know anything differently, you're all going to rise to the top. And as more agents leave the business, you're going to have an opportunity to grow your market share. So go out there, build your skills, learn your lessons, and hopefully in 10 years, you'll be shooting your own podcast talking about the lessons you've learned over time. Thanks so much for watching or listening to this podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.